all set? I guess this mic is live too, isn't it? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bristol Town Council meeting of December 20th. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. We had a special meeting last night that we were fortunate enough to hold it at the new Veterans Home. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I just wanted to start our meeting thanking General Backus for hosting us, for giving us a tour. The new facility is beautiful. I don't think we can say enough for a thank you to our veterans. I think that's a wonderful start. I think we've all said that a few times. This town is very proud to be the most patriotic community in America, the most patriotic town in America. I think that's a wonderful way to show that. So, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Town Council. The first item on this evening's agenda is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item is a submission of minutes of previous meetings, items A1, 2, 3, and 4.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Okay. The next item is item E1. This is the junk and secondhand dealer license renewals for 2018. You have recommendation provided by the Town Administrator and Chief of Police to approve.
Based on the recommendations, motion to approve the second-hand dealer's license.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is item F1. This is the petition of Mary Ellen Jones, 211 State Street. Request council consideration for accessible parking space in front of her residence. This is the second reading for adoption.
Make a motion to adopt this parking space for the resident contingent upon the recommendations of the police department as it pertains to the disability parking permit and all the ordinances attached to it.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is item F2. This is the petition of Edward Cory on behalf of the Bristol 4th of July Committee. Requests use of the Bristol Town Common for the annual Carnival from June 24th through July 5th, 2018. You have recommendations provided by the Town Administrator, Director of Parks and Recreation, and Chief of Police to approve with certain conditions.
Based on the recommendations, make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is the petition of Pamela Delaney on behalf of the Bristol Garden Club. Request council support to install the rain keep in Mrs. Perry's garden.
I see. Welcome.
Thank you. There'll be two of us.
Wonderful. If you could state your name for the record.
I'm Pamela Bishop, and I live at 66 Franklin Street in Bristol.
I'm Pam Delaney. I live at 133 Ferry Road in Bristol.
Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. The Bristol Garden Club came before you last spring to ask for the town's approval to install the rain keep in Mrs. Perry's garden to provide an environmentally sustainable water source for the garden, which we've been watering by hand with 1-gallon jugs brought to the site previously. You did give us your endorsement, and we're very excited to bring this project to Bristol. The rain keep will be a public work of art by a notable local artist, Allison Newsom, who recently created the inspiring sculpture in the entrance of the new Veterans Home here in Bristol, and I'm sure you enjoyed that when you were there at the meeting and saw that. It's fantastic, we think. Allison has been invited to exhibit a larger, grander version of our rain keep at the prestigious Venice Architecture Biennale 2018, which will be held in Italy beginning in April this year. So we're very excited to be working with such a prominent artist on our project. Once it's installed, we think the rain keep as a demonstration of rain barrel technology, will be a valuable educational resource for school and youth groups, as well as a focal point for Bristol Parks and Recreation's campaign to promote the use of rain barrels in the community. The Rain Keep will be dedicated to the children of Bristol, our future. Its message is one of stewardship and environmental responsibility, encouraging people to try new approaches to current and evolving challenges that we will be facing. The budget to finish and install the entire project is approximately $14,500. Of this $14,500, the Bristol Garden Club has raised $5,250 in secured grants, and we have also received $3,130 in private contributions, large and small, from many supportive donors in the community. So the total amount of grants and donations together is $8,380. Tonight we're asking the town to help us with a contribution of $2,000. If this amount is made available to us by the town, the balance needed to complete the project as budgeted can be provided by the Garden Club using mostly unrestricted funds, which we've raised over the last 3 or so years from plant sales and numerous other activities. Such funds as these we typically use to support our community in various ways. For example, funding our educational grants for local school and youth programs, financially supporting community and local environmental concerns, and of course for civic beautification. You see the gardens around you as you're in town. We hope the town will be able to help us move forward to finish the Rain Keep in time for a spring dedication in 2018, so that our community can begin to fully enjoy all of the benefits of the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you for working hard on this. When you first came, I think we all thought you were going to ask us for money, and you said no, you weren't going to. And so I think it's appropriate to ask us now, since you've done a good job fundraising, and you just need that little bit extra to make sure to ensure the project.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just make a motion that we grant the $2,000 from council contingency and look forward to the project moving forward. And you're all to be commended, I think, for all the hard work you've done to water the
thank you
flowers
so
back
much.
there by bringing all of the gallon by gallon. I know how that can be, so that's not so much fun. And also for raising the money that you have raised and coming to us as sort of like the last piece.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun working together as a group doing this, and it's been very gratifying to, especially recently, our last tea that we had, to garner support, everything from $20 to $500. We got all kinds of wonderful donations, and the interest and support expressed by the community has been one of the best parts of this whole experience, I think, for all of us.
Could you just tell me quickly again, which sculpture did the woman do at the Veterans Home?
It's in the entrance. I unfortunately wasn't able to get a parking place to go see it, so I've seen pictures of
Trust
it.
me, I know that day was a little bit hectic.
That day was crazy, but it's I think the yes.
Oh, is it the eagle?
most
It is the
notable
eagle.
part is
Oh, yeah,
the
the eagle's
eagle.
beautiful, yeah. Because there's a
Yeah.
couple of different art projects that were pointed out to us. That's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
She
pictures.
also did the yellow braid.
Oh, she did that too? Yeah. Very good, very nice.
Yeah, she's very
Two very
prolific.
prominently displayed pieces.
It's
I'll
pretty
second for
pretty.
discussion. We always ask this, I'll just refer to you, Diane. Is there anything available grant-wise that you know of that can pertain to this, or Walter, if need be, that If no, that's fine, but we always ask first, you know.
So I am currently exploring reprogramming some grant funds that actually we got in partnership with Bristol Historical Society for the history signs. That was a Rhode Island Foundation Centennial grant, and we ended up coming in under budget. So I'm in conversations with them right now, and I can't confirm it, but we were thinking of reprogramming to help them do their signage for the explaining what the rain barrel is and
Okay.
some historic photos of Mrs. Perry's garden.
Okay.
So, but I can't say for sure.
Yeah, that's,
So that would be an added component
Yeah.
to this then?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
that's
just going to
good.
say, is that up and above the $2,000, the signage? Is that,
In the total budget that they gave, some money toward a sign is included. Since we don't know quite how much it's going to be, we just made a stab at what we're hoping it would be, but
Okay.
it's a little uncertain exactly how much it would be.
So are you saying, Diane, then, like even if we approve this to come out of whatever contingency if needed, but if you were able to reprogram it, that would be part of the 2,000? Is that what you're suggesting? Or would this be above the, and beyond that to make sure that the signage was completed?
I suppose it's up to us, right? We could.
yeah, I
Right,
just
right.
asked
Right.
pertaining to the 2,000 right now. I mean, if there was an added signage and separate and apart, I'm just asking for the request that is here this evening, and that's why I was only asking. If it can happen, then that's the answer. And there's a motion just to go out of contingency, which is fine.
Perhaps you might want to amend your motion to say up to 2,000, depending upon
Right,
what becomes
right.
available.
So I was
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, I think so so that we don't have to come back and revisit it, but up to, so if you're able to reprogram some, that'd be great.
Ed, are you comfortable seconding that?
Yes.
Perfect. Andy?
So I'm wondering if we can look at this from another point of view. So there's three, I think, goals that this piece of art is setting out to accomplish. First, art, right? Enjoyment of the artistic nature of it. Second, education. Conserving water, using a rain barrel. And I think the third is addressing a practical need that you have.
Yes.
And so the first two, I can't help but wonder, what our criteria is for the council to support art installations and educational pieces. And is it just a matter of asking? And I wonder if other organizations that are undertaking similar initiatives to beautify the town with art, there's a lot of that going on, and a lot of other initiatives related to education, sustainability, recycling that are going on. And I'm wondering if we should consider criteria on what we support, because I can envision a lot of people coming up and asking for support. I do believe we should support this, but I think it should be from a different angle. It should be to support the third goal, which is the practical goal
That's how I view it.
of carrying gallon jugs of water. So there's a water service right on the sidewalk, and I've estimated about $1,100 in materials to have a spigot there, providing water, which, the quarterly charge is $78.13, 2 quarters, $160, endless supply of water. I wouldn't anticipate you would exceed the minimum. So I think the town should consider purchasing the materials to provide a spigot there to address the practical need, maybe providing labor to the Department of Public Works to dig a small trench from the sidewalk underneath the bit where the bushes are behind the stone wall, blow out to the other side where you have a small box with a backflow preventer, an RPZ, and a spigot mounted above the ground. And I think that could be maintained as we currently maintain our ball fields, where that's in the wintertime it's removed so it doesn't freeze, and in the springtime it's put back. So, I think that we should support it, but I think we should support it in a manner which will give actually more predictability to your ability to water the gardens there. I think the concept of having a rain barrel is great. It demonstrates sustainability. but it's very possible it might not meet your needs, depending on rainfall. And I think the town could take very specific action by providing town water to the site for your use, and allocate funds accordingly in that manner. So with that, I'd like to consider maybe a different approach, and instead of just providing $2,000 of funds, I'd suggest that we consider changing the motion to provide water service to Mrs. Perry's garden there.
Well, here's my problem with that. And that may have been fine, but you've already come forward a while ago with this plan. We all supported the plan, and you're underway on doing a big project and have raised a lot of money. And I'm not sure if the artist has been commissioned already or not. I'm not sure. I think so, right?
Yes, actually.
So, I mean,
the sculpture is
so, I mean,
almost
I think
finished.
it's a little, I think it's a little late at this point to say we're not going to go forward with this particular project. I mean, if the town, if it shows in the future that there's not enough rainfall, whatever the case may be, then, we have to revisit that. But in the meantime, we had already sanctioned this project. Like, back, I think was it the spring, maybe, that you all came?
Yes,
So I think that at this point, you're asking a very specific thing. We've come this far, we've raised this much money, we need this little bit more to get over the finish line and get this installed. And you're coming asking us for that, and you're taking on the responsibility of maintaining one of our parks in many respects. Am I right, Walter? Is that a fair statement? So I think that is a good investment for us.
I'm by no means suggesting that this doesn't go forward. I think this should absolutely go forward, and I think it could be a much better, potentially, project supplemented by a predictable water source. And so I think absolutely it should go forward. And maybe, and I don't know if you've considered just adding a water service there, but it seems that by doing that, you could even use that water service to fill the rain barrel for storage as well. But maybe with taking into consideration that you have an endless supply of water, you could consider a potential redesign of the art installation so that the capacity maybe not be needed as great as you've planned. Maybe the structure, the foundation needed to support the large quantity of water could be less. You could save some dollars in that manner. So I'm thinking maybe keep going with the art installation, but the town support a water supply instead.
We'd envisioned the possibility that we'll have a drought that'll last all summer, and we wouldn't collect a lot of rain. So for that reason, it was designed with a between 400 and 500 gallon tank, and we have sided it so that it would be accessible for a truck to come and fill it with water. And that's what our plan was for summers that didn't give us enough rain, so that we'd have essentially a reservoir of water there available. And it's not really possible to redesign it at this point because the sculpture is essentially completed. And we have seen it as it's neared completion. So I have some, in fact, I was going to pass some photos around so you could see what we've accomplished.
I still think, it seems odd to plan on having a truck going when a truck, the cost of having a truck fill up, go there, unload, even the environmental aspect of that, the truck running, diesel fuel, et cetera, when you could just turn on a spigot for $1,000 and have an endless supply of water for the next 10 years. Maybe something to consider.
Maybe I suggest that maybe we take these two issues separately. Like, I think we should decide on the 2,000 to go forward and finish up this project. And so you can plan the installation and capture as much rainwater as we might get in the spring. And then a separate discussion, we could either the budget time or, we could discuss putting in the water service there. And that would be something that Walter could bring forward during the budget, that and whatever other parks may need something along those lines. And, and figure out that. I'm not opposed to having a water service there, but I don't see it as an either or because we've already committed to this project and concept. And it's done, and we should move forward on it because there's lots of good reasons to just see it completed.
I think we've committed to absolutely supporting the project, in our last council meeting, but we didn't commit to supporting it with funds, and I
No,
think
I
that's
know,
what we're
right.
talking about tonight.
Right.
And I think we should consider, we should continue to support it, but I think we should allocate funds not towards the project, but towards providing infrastructure to continuing the ease of maintenance for the garden. And so I think, it's not either or. I think we can do both. We should support it in concept, encourage to continue to, that the group continues to fundraise and raise money for the art installation. But if we're going to allocate dollars, we should allocate dollars towards something that is a permanent improvement there, improves the actual usability of maintaining the garden, the efficiency of doing so. And I think we should be aware of any group that comes forward and wants to get support for art installations and educational programs. I think it's to be fair and equitable across the town with different organizations. I think I'm wondering what our criteria is. I can think of a lot of organizations that are doing other purposeful art installations that will be enjoyed by many that aren't coming in front of the council looking for funding.
I think we have a long, but I would counter that with say we have a long history of community organizations from Linden Place to Blythewall to you name it, the robotics teams, coming forward to the council and asking for help on a particular project, whether it's to go to a national championship, whether it's to do a particular activity. So, this is certainly not any way of a new request. There's just a long history for as long as I can recall, and I'm sure people have been around, Blue maybe and others, for any length of time would know, would verify that point. Walter, I'm sure you could as well. You've been around for a long time. I don't see this as, anything out of the ordinary, especially since it's benefiting our park. Like, this is our park, and they're taking on the maintenance of it and the beautification of it. So it's one less thing that we have to worry about. So in that respect, I think it's beneficial, and this becomes, I think the most important part of this is the practical aspect of it. However, I think that the beautification and just something else to bring people into that park is of important public interest and purpose, since it's our park and it's surrounded by a very historic site and so forth. So
I'd like to open this up to additional conversation.
Yeah, I first of all commend you guys on your fundraising, and I'm in support of the Rainkeeper due to the sustainability and the beautification of the park. I do want to save money due to the prudent. We have a very tight budget coming up, so I wanted to know, are there any other fundraising events in addition to, or in the works, or scheduled? Just trying to look at ways that we can save.
At this point, we haven't scheduled any additional ones for the upcoming year. Not to say it wouldn't happen, of course, but we're just taking it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
It's not inconceivable.
Okay.
If I might add,
Sure, please.
We've had two events this fall towards it. The tea, which raised, which Pam mentioned, altogether raised $2,000 of the $3,000 she spoke about, and a little bit from our first pumpkin patch, which we hope to have again next year and raise additional funds next year. So we've taken on two major outreach activities this fall.
Oh, great.
And we're just hoping that we can get it finished quickly, so that we, as I said, so that we can start to reap the benefits in this next year. So if we do more fundraising, it probably it would delay us significantly to do that.
No, I'm just thinking about the town meeting at $1,000, and then you were able to fundraise the rest. But just throwing it out there.
Yeah, good.
Just to know what you thought about that.
Well, something is better than nothing. We'd have to.
Just looking at the bigger
agree to
picture,
that.
we know what all my colleagues in the administration, all the department heads, we know what's coming down the road.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very tight budget. But long and short of it, I'm just asking you guys, looking for ways to save. That's all. So
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just bouncing it off you to say, are there ways you could maybe raise another $1,000, or would that be detrimental and you wouldn't be able to open in the spring? So I'm just kind of testing the waters here.
So-
One never knows how fundraising will go, but, I mean, we would certainly be grateful for any financial, support that the town can give us.
Sure.
So we'll see how everything goes, and we'll do the best we can. We've tried to be, quite frugal, and we've gotten a really good deal, I think, from our artist who's creating this. She's doing a lot of this out of the goodness of her heart, honestly.
Sure,
And
definitely.
so, people have been forthcoming, to help us along the way. So we have tried to be as frugal as we can be.
Of course,
So-
and I definitely want the project to succeed, that's for sure.
Thank you.
So, but I think the original motion was up to 2,000? Up to,
Right,
so it
because
could come in.
Diane is going to
could
be
come in
looking to
less.
see if she can repurpose some of
So-
that money that she
Okay, great.
has in the grant.
So I agree with my vice chair. We have to be prudent on how we look at fiscal responsibility, and that's why I posed the question of different outlets from a municipal side on how we can contribute. We have many groups, as Councilwoman Perella said, come in front of us. I think this group here, even though they're asking for $2,000, the total cost is $14,500, and they are actually going to put in the $4,120 from their own club, and they did raise other funds upon their presentation, not only with the art, but just to beautify our parks, which we're very proud of. So we have to look at the consistency as a town of Bristol of just beautifying and just adding and making the conditions better, which you're doing not only there, but with your club throughout the town. So we have to take that into consideration also when we look at certain groups that come in front of this council, to be mindful of that. Also looking out fiscally and looking for different grants and whatnot. So, but Mr. Chairman, I believe there's a motion and there's a second on the floor.
There is. For myself, I'm supportive of, we've talked about up to $2,000. I think if Diane is successful with that, I believe that $1,000 out of a contingency. Councilman Perella brought up that we do have a lot of groups that come in front of us, including robotics was the first one that came to mind. And I don't believe they were in front of us last year, but they have in previous years. So I believe that we do need to leave that option open. So for myself, I'm comfortable with $1,000 of our contingency, and then lay the burden on your feet, Diane, to see if you can get that money moved over for a total of $2,000. So up to $2,000, I'm comfortable with the way that was done. So we have a motion and a second.
Great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
very much.
Thank
You make sure that we know and the town knows when, I guess you would call it a grand opening or a grand filling, maybe? But
grand filling.
whatever it happens to be, we would like to know. So,
You don't bring gallons of water to fill it with.
Yeah.
All right.
Perhaps
you.
we could wish for no rain on that particular.
Yes, we'll have rain every day except that day.
thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
The next item is item F4. This is the petition of James F. Davis, 51 Bradford Street, Apartment 1, request for accessible parking space in front of his residence. This is the first reading of this request. You have a recommendation provided by the town administrator and chief of police to approve.
Motion, this constitutes the first reading.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next similar request from Roland St. Ange, 421 High Street, requesting accessible parking space in front of his residence with a similar recommendation coming forward.
Motion, this constitutes the first reading.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is the board, first in the appointment section, this is the Board of Tax Assessment Review with term to expire in December 2020. You have Carolyn Medina, 15 Cliff Drive, who is interested in being reappointed.
Motion to reappoint Carolyn Medina.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next is Conservation Commission. There are two positions available, both with terms to expire in December of 2020. You have Anthony Moratini of 46 Highland Road and also Roel Abreu, who are both interested in being reappointed.
Motion to reappoint Mr. Morantini and also reappoint Mr. Abreu to the Conservation Commission with a term to expire 2020.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next is the Juvenile Hearing Board with term. There are two positions. These are for full board members, also to expire in December of 2020. You have Matthew P. Cabral of 5 Polk Court and Diane Davis of 25 Butterworth Avenue, both seeking reappointment.
Motion to reappoint Matt Cabral and Diane Davis.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion?
Discussion, Vice Chair, if it's the reappointments just to these two, I know they're separate, Lou, of C and D,
Yep.
and there's an interest for an alternate. And is it separate, or usually we interview new applicants and sometimes hold off on all appointments? Or
Okay.
should this be separate because they're full-time members? I'm just for discussion purposes only.
It would seem like being an alternate, it would be appropriate to have it as a separate appointment.
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion.
No, it's a good
Okay.
point you brought up.
That's
Thank
fine.
you. Thank you.
So there was a motion and a second to reappoint Matthew Cabral and Diane Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item, this is for the Juvenile Hearing Board alternate. As previously noted, you have Marjorie J. McBride, currently serving of 3 Avenue Court, seeking reappointment, and new applicant Henry Cabral of 54 Sefton Drive, who has an interest in being appointed to the position.
So now I'll make a motion that we schedule an interview, Lou, preferably if my colleagues, as you know, last night we held interviews and there's other pressing applicants for other boards, and we have the holidays. So my suggestion would be to schedule a 6 o'clock scheduling for January 10th before our council meeting to schedule these applicants to be interviewed.
So January 10th is our standards
Yes.
council meeting, so do it an hour before.
Yep.
Anybody have objection to that hour before?
No, I shouldn't have a problem.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Would the council want to consider the ones who were not available last night?
Yes,
also the same-
exactly.
Yeah.
same-
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Is an hour going to be enough?
Well,
Are we motivated?
we'll have to make it. We'll have to get at least a good start on it.
There would be only 3,
Okay.
so.
And what I would suggest that we do is we'll actually call a special meeting. Okay.
Excellent. All right, so a meeting before the meeting.
There could be, a call to order and an adjournment, and another call to order out here.
Okay.
Oh,
Excellent.
Great. Thanks. Lou.
Do you need an amendment on that?
Nope.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Okay, item E, you have the Personnel Board with term to expire in December of 2021. You have Amy Marino, currently serving, would like to be reappointed.
Motion to reappoint Amy Marino.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And Auxiliary Harbor Master, you have Matt DeWolf of 16 Ridge Road, who has been sort of on the list for appointment for quite a while. Finally was interviewed last night.
Yeah.
So you have the opportunity to appoint him for a couple of weeks, if you wish to do so.
I think that, I move that we appoint Matthew DeWolf as an auxiliary harbor master. He did a good
Second.
job at his interview, and he seems like he's been working as a dockhand and doing well, and
Yeah, I think he's doing a good job.
So we have a motion and a second to appoint Matt DeWolf. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Okay, and then we have Historic District Commission. There are 2 full members, one with a term to expire in July, this coming July, and one in the following July 2019. You have 3 applicants: Sonny Furtado, 148 High Street; Benjamin Cantor Stone, 218 State Street; and Robin Smolka of 353 Hope Street. I understand that the first 2 candidates were unavailable for the
That is correct.
interview.
Yes,
So we're
these should
going
be
to-
included in our January 10th special meeting.
Okay, so we're going to continue to that January 10th.
now, we're both unavailable, or someone said that one of them may have withdrawn?
The deputy clerk did receive a phone call from Benjamin, but I don't think we were absolute, so I think it's worthwhile to
Well,
reach
we'll
out
still-
again. So
Still hold it up. We still
Absolutely.
continue to accept applicants if they come in, obviously.
Right.
Okay.
So can we have a motion to set up interviews on the remaining candidates?
So moved.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This is the part where this council says thank you. Thank you to the boards and commissions for the time, effort, and energy that you give back to the town. We appreciate it. You are an extension of us. And sometimes it's a quiet Monday night meeting, and a lot of important things happen. And without this volunteerism and this support, this town would not be in the place where it is. So we say thank you.
The next item, Mr. Chairman and members of the Town Council, is item I-1. This is an item put on by Councilman Stewart regarding status report of the 2017 Capitol Road Improvement Plan.
So 90 miles of road, approximately 366 here in the town of Bristol. And as we conclude 2017, it always makes me proud, especially working with my colleagues in the past administration when we reinstituted and reproposed the road program and had the support from my colleagues to make it part of the capital plan going forward every year. And we do that in a mindful, fiscal, conservative way. And there's a multitude of reasons why, because I get a lot of questions of why aren't we doing more roads. So I will get into that. But, I always say that we accomplish so much as a town, but when it comes to our infrastructure, and we talk about economic climate and tourism and our families that live in the neighborhoods, infrastructure has to be mindful, and I'm just glad that we concluded 12 roads for 2017. We work very closely with National Grid. We have a good relationship with them through the administration and the Director of Public Works. So I know the Director's not here, but going forward, we have a contingency plan already for 2018, but that might have to get revised because, as you know, when we reinstituted this program from the Beta Engineering 5 years ago, the estimated cost for all the roads was in the ballpark of $26 million. Now, 5 years later, with the conditions and the weather pattern and different, things that might happen to our roads, that cost might escalate. So every year in our capital plan during budget time, we stay around the $1 million mark unless we have federal and state funds, which we did at one time, and we accomplished more roads, especially in our industrial park area. So I'm just glad that we're continuing this. I know Kevin said that you, myself, and him will meet in January to go over the assessment of 2018 because we like to get out early, and that's the reason why is because we only do a certain amount of roads because of the window that we have here in New England. And if we overextend ourselves, number one, we'll be extending for more money. And we use bond money, obviously, from the old bond of $9 million, which we went through, and now we have the $17 million. And we prioritize all our projects. So we have to be fiscally responsible on how we release those bonds. So we pay down the bonds, and then as a council, we make these decisions with all our projects to conservatively look out for the taxpayer and the residents while accomplishing all the projects that we have been accomplishing as a council together in administration. So I just wanted to give this update that in the conclusion of 2017, since we started reinstituting this road program, we're between 30 and 40 roads, believe it or not, with our relationship with National Grid. And it's going to take many, many years and a lot of changes. I get many calls of, when is my road going to get done? I know the administrator said he gets the calls. I'm sure you all get calls. But there is a list, and we have to go by, the more extensive ones, and that's what we discuss going forward year by year and what we present to this council during budget. So I just want to thank the administrator and my colleagues on this program, and going forward, look forward just to always making those improvements the way we do with drainage and being mindful of all our other projects that we have to accomplish as well. So thank you.
Would you like to receive and file on that?
That would be a great motion.
Thank you.
Receive and file.
Thank
So
you.
moved.
Thank you for the information. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is item I-2. This is from Councilwoman Perella regarding her request for support for the implementation of a textile recycling program in Bristol. There's some supplemental information that's provided by the Councilwoman.
Okay, so if you just pass that down, we can all share. Let's see how close it matches your tie. Very, very impressive.
right,
I'm very
spot
impressed.
on.
I'm very impressed.
Inside information.
So, anyway, let me just
hilarious.
go in a brief presentation because it's pretty self-explanatory. I was looking at the North Providence Valley Breeze, the North Providence Breeze a while ago, and I saw this pink bag initiative as the headline story that they were looking at doing. And I thought, well, that is a great idea because it is basically a textile recycling program. And I'm using textiles and not clothing because it is not just clothing. It's clothing, it's shoes, it's purses, it's small household items. It's your curtains and your sheets that are, got wrecked in the wash and your towels that have just had seen better days. It can all be in here. And the average is about 81 or 85 pounds per family that ends up in the landfill. And so, as we all know with the tipping fees, that we want to get as much waste out of the landfill and out of the waste stream as possible. And textiles can be very heavy. So this just seems like a win-win. And what it is a private company who it was the way this woman, Kristen Brown, who's the consultant, tells the story is he grew up, his family was in the thrift store business. He swore he would never get into anything like that. Went into a different field, and then one day realized how much textiles were going into the waste stream and decided to get back into that business. So he has a company called Simple Recycling, and they service more than 1 million households in 55 cities in the country. They provide this service for free to the communities, and they actually will give you $20 a ton for everything. So it's not like a big money generator, but it's definitely a money saver in terms of the landfill and the tipping fees. What they do with the items is they take it to a hub. So there's a new hub opening in the spring in Taunton, Mass, and that hub will be the one that would serve this area. So Middletown, Tiverton are all looking at this as well. And they will have enough drivers, and you see in the I-2D, they're little vans that go around, and they follow the route of our DPW, so the trash collection route, and they will just pick up the pink bags. And right now they're able to do about 6,000 households a day because not everybody's going to have a pink bag out. And they would bring that then to their recycling hub, and that would be they then tier the items. So anything that is nice, new, that would have a resale value, let's say, in the United States, which is the top 10 or 20%, will go to thrift stores like the Savers, Goodwill, things like that. The next tier of items, about 80%, is exported to other countries for various uses, clothing, as well as being recycled. And then the final few percent would go to like 10% or so would go to the carpet, insulation. It'd be ground up in insulation, carpet, the mats for carpets and things like that. And then they end up with a very, very small amount that is just not usable. And so, as I said, it's a win for everyone. I had a meeting with this woman, Kristen Brown. She lives in South Carolina, but she's a consultant to a number of different projects up here in Connecticut and in Rhode Island regarding solid waste. And she was here last Friday. We were able to have a meeting with the administrator, the director of DPW, and the council chair to discuss the project. And the only thing that they really are asking for in return is that we have a 3-year agreement with them, sort of an exclusivity, like in case another company comes along and decides, right now there is no competition apparently, but I imagine anybody has a good idea, they're going to think there'll be a competition. And that's what they're asking for. So there's a draft ordinance that, a draft agreement that Tiverton was looking at. And so she sent me that one because I think I was wrong, but at one point I know Tiverton was represented by the same solicitor. And I thought, well, that would be good because probably the same solicitor, but I realized that's not the case any longer. But
I'll certainly review this.
yeah, so what I'm asking for tonight is that, is to move forward, as a motion, to move forward with send the draft agreement to the solicitor, and have him look at it and then move forward with the project, if everything seems to be in shape. And it would be something that would kick off in the spring, because that's when, as I said, the Taunton Hub would be open. So they have a PowerPoint presentation in here. I also just want to say one other quick thing. In terms of the public relations, they lay out a whole plan. If you look at the PowerPoint presentation that's in here, they handle all of that. They'll send out a card introducing the program. They send out the bags to them a few weeks later, and they're followed up. So they'll do the lead time, probably starting in the winter if we move forward with it. And then if anybody is moving or needs more bags, so if you leave a bag out, they'll give you a bag back. They'll leave it at your door. And if you're moving, then we'll probably have some available at some town locations for free, and they'll leave, or you can go online and you can ask for like 20. Like I'm going to be doing a major purge and downsizing. And the other thing I just want to say personally is that I think like it's a win-win. But I also want to make sure that people understand that if you already have a relationship with a place, like you call Big Sisters or Close to Kids or someone else that you donate clothes to, then this would in no way impact that. You still should continue with that relationship. This is for everything else that's in the textiles that you may not want. And as some people mentioned to me even after the meeting last Friday, a lot of times people say, I'm going to go, I've got the bags in my car, I'm going to stop at the place at the, the little boxes at the supermarket or in the parking lots and the bins. And, 3 months later, the stuff is still in your car. And then you decide to just throw it away. And so that's something like, this is like a use for that. But I do want to impress, there's a lot of organizations that rely on, people making donations. And I would want that to continue. I will say that Kristen said that one of the things for a lot of the donations, like if you go to Big Sisters, for example, it ends up at places like Savers or Goodwill anyway. And they actually like this kind of a program because they're not then weeding through everybody's individual bag of clothing, but it's already been sort of sorted for them. And so it sort of works all the way around. So with that, I'll just leave that with the motion to move forward.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion, and Councilwoman Perla, I applaud you for this initiative. I think it's fantastic. Any way we can extract weight from our trash to save on tipping fees is going to go a long way. It's green and it's free. So for me, it checks off all the boxes. So I'm looking forward to hopefully moving this forward. It's great. Mary, I just wanted to ask you one other question. I went through all the information, and the clothing is not tax exempt, correct? You can't write it off or anything.
Well,
I know some you can, but...
No, I think if you wanted to continue to do that, like, if you brought it to like Salvation Army or someplace like that, I believe they'll give you that tax, information.
Okay.
But this is more or less stuff that you would just be throwing away.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
I'd just like to add, thank you, Councilwoman. Very well presented. And also, it's convenient. It's during trash pickup day.
Right.
And I think we should add that if you have more than a lot of stuff that fills up one bag, the company will just give you extra bags and meet your needs. Also, you mentioned the boxes throughout our town, and there has been discussion. I know businesses make an added monetary relationship with those boxes. No way, shape, or form do I want to take money away from businesses, but to me, they're an eyesore. I know they serve for a purpose, but there's so many of them popping up throughout our town, and we don't even have regulation on our books for those boxes. So if this can help in any way, shape, or form, because the bags and recycling is already out in the neighborhoods, so it's not going to be like another nuisance. It's just going to be in tandem with it. I applaud it, and it's a great initiative because in 3 years is just a normal thing that people ask for a relationship, because that's a good time frame for anybody to ask to have a relationship with a municipality. So the 3 years again, and it's all for free. So very good.
Yeah.
I agree. Thank you, Councilwoman, for bringing this forward. I'm wondering if we should also consider engaging our dedicated group of volunteers at Bristol Recycles as well to see if that they have any input on how we can further promote or tie this in with other initiatives that they're working on as well, to see where there may be some other opportunities.
I thought a couple things. First is that this is voluntary. So this bag in front of your home, if you choose not to do this and you, as Mary's already said, if you're giving to Salvation Army, you can continue. You don't have to change anything. But this is an opportunity to, I believe the example that was, actually it was Director McBride gave the examples that they were downsizing, they were cleaning out their closet, and everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? And you end up with all of this stuff that what do you do with? And it ends up sitting there for a while, and it probably doesn't end up in a good place. Right. So this is a great way of making sure it doesn't go to the landfill, and it's voluntary. So if you don't want to do it, you absolutely don't have to. And we'll be on top of it, too. If there's a concern, if there's an issue, then obviously we'll address it. But I think it's a great idea. Is there any other comments?
Just to clarify, this is for clothing that would otherwise be thrown away. This isn't for clothing that would be potentially reused, donated to organizations that could use it to
It's for
raise
everything, including things that could be used for other organizations. In fact, one of the points Mary made was that this gives the Salvation Army and Savers a greater pool to pull from, and they were actually a big fan. Both organizations, one's a business obviously, both organizations were a big fan of it. And that was actually why I was making the first point, is that if you're giving to a local that is reusing this for a profit center and you want to continue, please don't change anything. Right. Yeah. This is for the opportunity for people who aren't doing those things or would like another avenue, or, as Councilman Tiska mentioned, maybe these pieces of clothing are no longer usable. And they don't have to just be clothing. It's textiles, so that's curtains and you name it.
Bedding,
so,
towels,
bedding,
and also like purses, jewelry, small household items, things that can fit in the bag. Because, there's opportunities all those places. I just want to say that if places, there are people that may donate to, say, East Bay Food Pantry, close to kids, which is a cause near and dear to my heart, which is provides free school clothing, four pairs of pants, like 4 or 5 outfits twice a year to inner city kids. That relies totally on donations. And if anybody has things in good condition for that, I'd be more than happy to pick it up and bring it to them, as a matter of fact. But, you wouldn't want to, do that, because they wouldn't be in a situation like a Savers where they're going to be buying the product back. So I wouldn't want to hurt any of those organizations. But this is just another alternative and a convenience factor for people that are like, wow, this towel just got shredded in my washing machine for whatever reason, and I'm going to throw it away, and I think we all have things like that, where they say they'll find the one shoe. Whatever happened to that other shoe? Who knows? Whatever happened to that other sock? It's like in the same
place. Telephone pole.
Crazy night.
Telephone pole.
So, Councilwoman, part of your motion would be January 10th. Will you have a draft agreement, Michael?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And also down the road, I would, like to have Kristen come, if we do, to kick it off.
Yep.
And maybe, people could hear her presentation directly. We'd have to, figure out when that would be, because she's not always up here. So.
Yeah, we can time it closer to the time.
Yeah.
So there's a motion and a second to refer this to the solicitor to review and come up with an appropriate ordinance for this, or whatever the next step is, and we can have this at our next meeting. Is there any other discussion?
Agreement, not an ordinance.
Agreement, thank you, I apologize.
Agreement, yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Take our take back.
The next item, Mr. Chairman, members of the Town Council, is item J1. This is for bid 870 for repair of the town pump-out boat. You have one bid received from C&C Fiberglass Components Incorporated of Bristol. The bid amount of $23,145.
Mr. Administrator, would you remind us, was there a grant, or maybe Greg, is there a grant that was some, most, or all of this?
We received a grant from DEM that paid 75% of that cost.
So it's the remaining balance.
So it's the remaining balance. And talking to Julie, I know she's not here tonight, we saved a lot of money on installing the crane ourselves down at State Street Dock. So we're going to use that, the remainder of that balance, to pay forward on this. So we're not asking for anything additional that we didn't obligate already for something.
And just to remind everybody, because there was a single bid here, we have the opportunity to negotiate if appropriate.
It's great that we have that grant. Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we refer this to the town administrator to act in the best interest of the town.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is item K1. This is the periodic report provided by Alan Klepper of the Bristol County Water Authority.
Motion to receive and file.
Second?
There's a motion to receive and file. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And now we have the individual council member agenda items, beginning with the chairman.
It was a short meeting, so I'm going to have some short, quick comments. First, we had a yearly audit, part of that meeting yesterday that we had at the Veterans Home. And again, thank you to General Backus, and also thank you to staff. Everyone was very kind there. And actually, thank you to the residents there, because they were also very kind. It's spectacular there. And we actually, it was Councilman Perella's suggestion. I agree with this wholeheartedly. It'd be great if we could share this with the public, whether it's maybe with a short video or something that we'd like to have a regular council meeting there to show off. And can you tell I'm very proud of it? I think they did a wonderful job, and I'm glad that we were a part of that. And I don't want to say a small part. We were a part of that. But we had our yearly audit. I know Julie, our treasurer, is not here this evening, but as normal, it went out without a hitch, and our auditor continues to be impressed. And I put her on the spot, our auditor, that is, and asked how we compared to other communities, and she said, at the top. So, I mean, that's nice to hear, and I never doubted it, but it's also nice to have that reiterated. We had our lighting recently, which was absolutely spectacular. I know that I'm not the only one that had people come up to me and say what a wonderful experience it was. Hats off to DPW, hats off to the police department, hats off to the administrator, and all. I mean, did you see our tree? Look at the tree. I mean,
awesome.
what a neat little difference there. You know, we have the white lights, but then the colors there and the bright lights. The best quote was from, I'm going to say she was 5, and her dad was holding her up. And she said to Dad, this is like a dream. I mean, how wonderful is that? So I think we all know this, but I think it's wonderful to remember every once in a while.
Is that your daughter?
It was not my daughter. But thank you for asking. She's 7, so that's why I probably did that too. We live in such a wonderful community, and this is a small example of that. I mean, you drive down there right now, and it looks magical. It looks like a dream. And you know, I mentioned the Veterans Home. We were talking about our firefighters yesterday and our EMS. We're just truly fortunate. And actually, that's kind of where I was going. I'm not going to steal the administrator's thunder, but we have a new tax assessor, and I'm sure that's going to come up, and she's, okay, well, Michelle DeMeo, and you may know her face. Her face may look familiar to you because she was in our clerk's department working with Lou Cirillo, but she is now our new tax assessor / collector. Congratulations to you. Good luck. It's good stuff. And I'm going to leave with this. Holiday kindness. We talked about the windstorm that we had recently and reaching out to our neighbors. There's a lot of people that are in need this year and every year, and whether it's the kindness of a gift, but there's also a lot of people in need that have money and still need that kindness. So when you look over to your neighbor's house, and I know that our neighbor lost her husband semi-recently, and that's a tough time to be alone. So if you have a moment, actually I'm going to take that back, make a moment and go to your neighbors, go to the person next door, go drive down the street. You know who I'm talking about. Take a moment and spend time, whether it's 5 minutes or maybe it's maybe invite them over for the holidays. This is a time of year where it's very difficult to be alone, and it's also wonderful when people reach out, and that's why our community is wonderful. The lights show it, but it's really in the actions of the people. So, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes, definitely this is a time for reflection, and I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But I wanted to take a moment to reflect on the accomplishments of 2017. We have so many accomplishments we should be proud of, and when I talk about accomplishments, I'm talking about department heads, the administration, the council, the town as a whole. So I just wanted you guys all just take a moment. We're going to just go over some of these accomplishments. Finalize the lease agreement for the Gladding as Vito's property. Prudence Ferry Dock Repair. Restored the slate roof on Byfield School. Participated and were recipients of the Rhode Island Energy Challenge Award. Adopted the 2016 Comprehensive Plan. Appointed a new tree warden. Updated the mooring ordinance. In the works is a tax incentive ordinance for our volunteer firefighters. Veterans tax exemption is in review. We supported the no guns in school legislation, moving forward with the solar project on the landfill, installed a school zone flashing lights, Colt fund and spending. Senior service position will now fall under the jurisdiction of the Parks and Recreation Department. Increasing the harbor master's term to 3 years. Municipal building LEDs, expanded the use of the Maritime Center, Metacom Ave, Center Lane. Health equity zone, a dog park is in the works. Open space acquisitions. The Rhode Island State House lease decision. We've also received some awards, Safest Town. We've also received a lot of grants. So 2017 has proved to be a challenging one, but we did a great job. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and good night.
Mr. Tiska.
I just want to say I'm very thankful for this past year, and I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and wishing everyone the best for 2018.
Ms. Perella.
Well, I want to congratulate Michelle as well. And prior to her stint with the clerk, she was over in the tax assessor's office. So, right. So, she's been around, and I'm sure you're going to miss her, Lou.
Absolutely.
And I will say that, you know, I know you're a very fast learner, because I think when you were brand new in Lou's department and took on the probate, I had some issues that I was dealing with, and you helped me through that. So thank you very much, and so good luck with your new position. I just wanted to raise this issue and ask the administrator to, you don't have to address it today, but if you could look into it with the police department. The council, a couple of meetings ago, we approved a parking space behind, one of the driveway ones on Congregational Street. A couple of the neighbors I've seen since in the last several weeks, and they're quite upset because it's taken parking spaces from them, and in that particular location, the person could back out right into another driveway. Do you know what I mean? So they questioned the need for it, and were sort of taken aback that it just sort of happened, and said, well, what did you guys do? I said, well, we usually the police department and others go out and talk to the neighbors and so forth. So I did tell the people that I spoke with that I would just bring that up again, to maybe take a second look at that, if you could. So I wanted to just pass that on to you, Steve, and the chief. And then finally, I want to wish everyone here, all my colleagues, and everyone who's out watching at home, all of our constituents, the very, very Merry Christmas and a very happy and healthy 2018. So with that, can you believe it's 2018? Wow. Thank you very much.
Mr. Stewart.
Welcome, Michelle. I wish you the best. And also, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Walter Burke and Sarah Klein. They were inducted into the Bristol Athletic Hall of Fame. Right. So congratulations, Walter, on that honor. As far as Vice Chairman's comments, very well done. And it makes me proud to sit here at the end of 2017 with my colleagues on behalf of working, on behalf of the residents, with the administration and the departments, constantly not only accomplishing projects, but constantly working on future projects and being mindful of that and being considerate, to be foresightful, to always make our community the best that we can. So it makes me proud, and I want to wish my colleagues a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year to all you and your family, and to all the residents out in Bristol. Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas, and have a safe and Happy New Year. I'm just going to add that I had a conversation with Dr. Paul Agatello to, refamiliarize the conversation of the clinic that he started about 5-6 months ago. Asked him how it was going, and he said it's a tremendous success. He enjoys immensely doing it. So I just wanted to let you know that, you know, it's still there at the Country Gambling, and it's just another asset that we provide for our residents in our community. So with that, thank you, Mike Davis, Archie Martins, everybody who came out tonight, and everyone tuning in at home. Thank you, and have a good night.
Town Administrator, agenda items.
Thank you. I was pleased to appoint our new tax assessor. I think when you can take somebody from within an organization and bring them up to a level that they deserve, it's well worth a while for the organization, and I think the people of Bristol will benefit from that. A series of interviews, very qualified candidates. However, we determined that the knowledge of Bristol, the experience, the diligence that she's demonstrated, we had a lot of faith in. We're very confident that Michelle DeMayo is going to be an excellent tax assessor for many years to come. Good luck. Tanyard Brook, Diane Williamson, our Director of Community Development, told me today that she got 2 more easements signed, so we're down to 4 more to go. So we're tracking.
Progress.
Golf
These are the
club.
hardest ones, though, right, Diane?
One more week, Diane. Second meeting in January. Be prepared in the new year.
Finish it up. It can go on Tim's list.
I didn't bother her today. I knew she was busy across the street, so yeah. Sewer main, ahead of schedule. The 12-inch was replaced. They were initially, as we've been reporting, originally their plan was to work south to Griswold Avenue. They made the whole extension, so they'll be back in the spring to do 14 lateral connections, which shouldn't take long, and then they're going to line the 12-inch pipe that goes further south to Metacom Avenue. So they're thinking a week or 2 in the springtime, and they're done. So we're really pleased with the outcome there thus far. Just other than that, I'd like to echo what the chairman said about the Christmas celebration we had downtown, and it is remarkable. And for me to experience it as the town administrator, it was really special to see. And I did state somewhere that if you don't have a Christmas tree, you do have one. It's that tree out there is all of ours. So if you don't have one, I encourage anyone to walk the grounds in the evening, and it really is peaceful. It's real nice.
Steve, I forgot to thank probably the Christmas Festival Committee, a big part of what happened there. So,
Yeah.
Excuse me, thank you, and
the
nice
30th
job,
anniversary.
everyone. 30th anniversary, too.
Right.
And side note, my Aunt Dottie Cadiro was the start of that with Halsey.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it was fun.
thank you.
Merry Christmas, especially to those returning from college and those students that are home for break. I hope they enjoy their time with their families, and hopefully we have another successful year. I'm pretty confident we will. And other than that, good night.
I've asked the council this evening to convene into executive session. As you know, from time to time, my office as your legal counsel asks you to go into executive session for instance, tonight's going to be an update on some litigation, and we're going to be discussing some strategy, etc. The council has a fiduciary duty when it comes to making decisions for the town, whether it's litigation, whether it's, for instance, from Diane Williamson's office with regard to maybe the purchase of land or even the sale of town land, or to engage in a lease agreement with a private party. The law specifically provides that you have the ability to convene into executive session precisely because of your fiduciary duty. What do I mean by that? You need to be sure you're acting in the best benefit of the taxpayers and the townspeople. You cannot do that unless there's certain information that only you're privy to before you come out into public and actually vote on it, so that you can, in essence, get the best deal for the town. Whether, Councilman Sweeney mentioned the Azevedo property a little earlier about one of your great accomplishments. That took many, many months of negotiations, and those negotiations resulted in what you all agreed was a good deal for the town, the taxpayers. If you had started off in the beginning just doing it in public, you would have never gotten to that point. You would not have gotten the best deal. So just want to be sure that we all understand that if one of the department heads or I ask for an executive session, it's precisely to help you do what's in the best interest and best benefit of the town. So tonight, the request is pursuant to 42465A litigation. I just want to bring you up to date on a few litigation cases.
Thank you. And thank you for that explanation. I mean, I think we all understand it, but, make sure
Every
the
now and
public
then we want-
understands it.
I said so moved. Mr.
Second.
Cook?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good night, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.